EALD stands for English as an Additional Language or Dialect. The EALD Hub is an online course. It's 29 ebooks that include videos, readings and interactive activities. It's to make schools more inclusive and responsive to Aboriginal learners.
The EALD Hub is a series of modules and online booklets that you work through to give you a better understanding of the cultural diversity and some of the complexities that our Aboriginal students face in their learning and being able to function with standard Australian English when it isn't actually their home language.
For a lot of our kids, there is a process where they have to translate what the teacher said in standard Australian English into Aboriginal English in their head, then figure out the answer and then translate it back from Aboriginal English to standard Australian English to deliver that feedback back to the teacher. Making the teachers aware of this process, and they then allow time for students to be able to translate within themselves.
Knowing about Aboriginal English has actually helped me quite a fair bit. I grew up in a small country town around the Indigenous culture, and I wasn't only aware about Aboriginal English until I completed the ebooks through the Hub.
Often teachers may perceive the language that Aboriginal learners use in classroom as a deficit or perhaps something that's incorrect, and they like to correct their grammar or correct their vocabulary. When teachers are aware that students are speaking a different dialect, they stop doing that and instead compare, this is how you say it in this dialect, this is how we need to say it for this particular learning area to do this particular assignment.
The aha moment through the Hub would be relationships are paramount with families and students, and if you have a good relationship with students, it's generally followed through to their parents and families as well.
I'm going to read you the first sentence. You're going to tell me which one of these is going to fit that sentence.
I think the most important thing is that using the EALD Hub resources is that you build the kids' prior knowledge. Whereas when I first started teaching, that probably wouldn't have been something that I had as a priority. The importance of modelling is that you are showing the students what it is that you are looking for, what the expectation is. So by modelling it and thinking out loud, they're actually seeing it in action.
EALD Hub, Alira 1, action.
My name's Alira and I'm from Warringal, Coolgardha and Merning. So it's got all the language groups up there from Australia, and we have a picture of us and where we're from in the language groups.
One of the things that I like about coming to school is that I can go to school knowing that I'll be safe and that I have friends and teachers that respect me and that I can respect them.
At Port Lincoln Primary School, we have an Indigenous t-shirt that was designed by combining students' artwork. It is a shirt that is worn with pride by students and staff. We do an amazing job at this school of supporting our Indigenous students. Staff meetings with Becky giving us insight into more cultural awareness. We have the handbook that they created.
We created a space where the teachers could ask us anything Aboriginal, basically. I really wanted them to feel comfortable enough to ask the questions that they would not dare to ask. So we had a segment at the end of each meeting called You Can't Ask Becky That. I think it did relieve a lot of that anxiety that teachers had around teaching Aboriginal content. That part has a lot to do with our success across the school as well, because our ABED team is now approachable in any format.
Changes from implementing the Hub, I have noticed student engagement, student attendance, and the willingness to learn and want to, do better.
I currently have 42% Indigenous students in my class. The growth since the start of the year in their writing levels has been outstanding. We've had one particular student who went up 4 levels, which is 4 years, but the majority of them have grown at least 12 months since the start of the year.
I've seen what the books are capable of. We've only done the first few books with our whole staff and already have implemented so much change.
I think what teachers need to realise is that it is a big commitment, but it will make a huge difference to your practice.
What does education look like for Aboriginal kids in the future is a place where there is no gap. There is no difference between a non-Aboriginal student and an Aboriginal student. That is I'm going to cry actually, but that is my passion. That's why I work in education. That's what I want in the future, is for every Aboriginal student to be able to not have those gaps in their learning.